for this one. It's a strong start though, isn't it? First 300 metres, bolt to the front with a 15-metre lead.
It's a bold move, and you're fighting that wind on your own pretty much from gun to tape if that's your plan.
Well, an athlete I know in this age group that likes to do that is Innes Fitzgerald, and we've already mentioned her today. We'll keep mentioning her because she is a very special talent, and well, we can't wait to see the outcome of this race and all the races today.
That's a pretty impressive gap after, what, 600 metres maybe?
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. There she is, rounding that first corner there. That's Innes Fitzgerald of Exeter, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. Coached by Gavin Pavey and Joe Pavey. Do we think that's heavy ground? Is she gliding across the course at the minute? Waiting for the grass to be flattened, I think.
I'd say that looks pretty good. We've not had too much rain in the north lately, so we might get some fast races today. Unbeaten in 2023 as well, Innes Fitzgerald, so she's probably looking to keep that winning streak up today, and looks good so far.
Well, a bit of a steady incline at this point. I mean, that is a staggering lead, isn't it? I appreciate that times in cross country are not all that relevant, but if you're crossing the line minutes ahead of your competitors, it's an impressive feat.
It's a group of about 13 athletes, quite a way back from Innes, but breaking away from the rest of the field by the looks of it. So that might be the race for the minor medals at this point.
You're never quite sure when it comes to the national who's going to show up and what form people bring. We obviously look at the Northern, Midlands and Southern championships held in January as a bit of a finger in the air to gauge who may be amongst the medals and the top sort of 10 or 20 athletes, but it is a real lottery because everybody responds so differently depending on the day.
And it's a long old cross-country season as well. I don't know whether that's just a UK thing, but I can remember explaining to my American friends how we kind of start basically at the end of September, early October, and it goes all the way through to March, which is quite a long time to be running in the mud.
Yeah, certainly a couple of weeks' time we have the British Cross Challenge kicked back up again with the final meet over in Loughborough. And then at the end of March it's the English Schools cross country as well. And then it's pretty much into road racing season with the regional road relays and then the national road relays as well.
Yeah, English Schools, I'd say, up there for these girls. That's kind of your bragging rights for the next few years, even after your English Schools days. Those are some of the best races, I think, of your sort of young career. So up there with the English national and the inter-counties as kind of the highlight of the cross-country season for these girls.
It's really interesting because I often, amongst my travels across the UK to various athletics meets, and you meet guys and women in their 60s, and they talk about when they went to the English schools, and it's amazing really that these sort of moments from competing in the national, competing in the English schools, last with them for such a long time, and it's quite sweet really to think that there's some
maximum flight altitude reached,
long-lasting memories of this race and this course for many years to come.
Oh, absolutely. And in the younger age groups, I mean, the under-17s, they're under-17s and under-20s rather, they're probably of the more experienced end, but some of these youngsters that will be racing today in the shorter races, it might be their first experience of the national, which is really exciting as well, because you turn up and then you see this horde of people you'll be racing against, which isn't quite the same as the league racing they'll be used to throughout the winter.
Well, if you've got a course map in front of you, Innes Fitzgerald is just going around the sort of D to G section. The drone currently just focusing on the C corner as they turn left to commence the close of their first lap, which is a shortened version of the yellow route on our Bolesworth Castle course. These are the chasers at the moment. We're keeping an eye out for some bib numbers. I'd love to say I have x-ray vision, but my eyes are currently terrible. I can need a new glasses prescription, but it's good. It looks nice out there, doesn't it? It looks really good.
It does. It looks firm underfoot, and it's sunny as well. You can't really ask for more at this end of the country.
Well, plodding through the first 2K. We do know that the second lap is slightly longer. It's around about 3.1K. 2.1K for this first lap, so it's a nice way to break in. We've got a few gloves out there. I don't think I've seen any hats from the athletes yet. Quite often you see them wearing something which they drop off on the later sections of the course. Just look at the traffic coming in as well. Hopefully they've all pre-booked their parking. I saw plenty of advertisements about that this week from the English Cross Country Association.
It's number 19 there, that's Rebecca Flaherty from Bingley Harriers, Yorkshire County champion, and also competed at the World Cross Country Championships in Australia, finishing 23rd, so she's currently in 3rd place at the moment.
Well, I think just sitting there with the arm sleeve is Zoe Gilbody. One of our competitors at the European and World Cross Country Championships. Good position in 2nd at the moment. 50 metres back from Fitzgerald in the lead.
Yep, Zoe Gilbody, Midlands champion from this year, won that race by over a minute as well, which is pretty impressive. So she's looking to stretch out that 2nd place at the moment.
You just get a picture of the distance between the athletes. It is really strung out over the first couple of Ks. They are about to head around the loop to conclude their first lap. You can just see as they veer around the top right hand corner of your picture. That concludes the first lap. This is the sort of finishing straight as they head back towards the Black Saucony finishing arch. You'll see that later on, I'm sure. Great to see so many young athletes. Plenty of nerves on the start line this morning, I'm sure.
All gone as soon as the gun goes off though, surely?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I think when that stiff breeze hits you in the face on the first bend,
there's not much else you can think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Just goes to show how many people it takes to put on an event like this. Well, there is Innes Fitzgerald.
She strikes me as a very honest racer with this kind of gun to tape style that she likes to use in all of her races, gets the most out of herself and doesn't leave anything to chance.
Yeah, she did the same for the Eurocross trials back in November at Sefton Park, and it was a similar sort of victory. She went gun to tape, and the sort of tactic you usually see in track racing, isn't it? But it's a lot more risky doing it in cross country because it's a lot further and you don't quite know how the legs will last. But Fitzgerald is masterclass at the moment.
Just a little look behind her shoulder there from number 19 Rebecca Flaherty. I don't know if she's maybe feeling the burn and just checking how much space she has before 4th, but she's got a good gap at the moment. They are starting to string out.
Difficult to tell between Flaherty and Gilbody. Just who's moving that bit smoother. You think they're both quite clear for 2nd and 3rd at the moment. I think that was Freya Murdoch just coming around Stockport Harrier there. Millie Freeland as well from Marshall Milton Keynes. It's great that the national gets transported from the south to the Midlands to the north year after year. It gives everybody an opportunity, maybe put off by the travel, to get to a national championship so local to them.
Yeah, absolutely, and it mixes up the courses as well. It gets you a good amount of experience racing on different style of courses. I mean, you know, it looks to me that this is very different from what we had last year at Parliament Hill. It doesn't get much hillier. So it might suit some of the track runners a little bit more, might invite some of those sort of shorter distance folk to come and race where they maybe wouldn't have done if there's those quite intimidating mountainous hills.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this is the sort of northern leg of the national, and we were supposed to originally be back at Harewood House in Leeds. Unfortunately became unavailable, so Northern Athletics did a wonderful job of trying to find various
maximum flight altitude reached.
Bosworth Castle was a top pick. First time it's hosted the national, and I get a feeling this won't be the last either. hordes of athletes coming past the screen.
It's always a colourful affair as well, the national. You've got all the club vests mixed in there, and the youngsters like to accessorise with their colourful socks as well. I can remember those days, your matching or not matching compression socks.
Who usually takes it upon themselves to buy the face painting kits?
Oh, it'll be one girl or boy in each club team, and they'll be there for hours before all the races as everyone kind of comes over to get their whiskers or army stripes on their face.
Oh, it's just what you like to see. It adds a bit of colour, doesn't it? And it always looks good when you see yourself in Athletics Weekly in the review of the National with your face paint on as well. Saw plenty of that at Bucks a couple of weekends ago too.
Oh yeah, Bucks is definitely a different level on the face paint.
Different level of celebrations afterwards as well.
And I think it's that team spirit that encourages that. You know, the team medals are up for grabs today as well, so a lot of these girls will be thinking about that and trying to get every place they can to contribute to their team scores.
Well, Fitzgerald at the front, that distinctive style of hers, tall, rangy runner, and striding for home from the first 100 metres. I reckon she's around about 3.5k now into this 5.2k course. And Fitzgerald, who hails from Exeter, a long journey for her, but still made the effort to get all the way up north just to take the national title. I think £1 million bet on her winning at this point would be a safe bet.
If I had it, I think I'd be putting that bet on right now. Just having a look through the entries, and Exeter don't actually have a full team, only one other athlete, Isla Bryson, running for Exeter in this race. So no team medals at stake for Innes Fitzgerald. She's all in thinking about the individual title. Some of the other girls will definitely be gunning for those team spots, as well as finishing up as high as they possibly can for their individual as well.
Well, she was fourth at the European Cross Country Championships back in December. She was a silver medalist at the English Schools Cross Country 12 months ago as well. We'll surely be looking to upgrade that in 2023. She's a real talent, isn't she? I wonder what event she'll eventually sit on, because she's 3,000 metre runner last year on the track, English Schools champion, SIAB Schools champion. Just wonder where she might find her niche.
I think it could end up being a real range. The person she reminds me of from my days of racing in these age groups is Jess Judd, actually, streaking away from the field. And you know, Jess has represented Great Britain on the international stage from 800 all the way up to 10k, and moving up to the roads now as well. So she strikes me as someone who kind of might have the pick.
Yeah, you're right. She's got very much a Jess Warner Judd about her, hasn't she? So that distance in front. Nice to see that Flaherty and Gilbody are sort of pairing together. I wonder how much life they'll have in their legs to try and battle it out in a sprint finish.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a head-to-head going on there. I mean, they know at this point probably that they're in the medals. Maybe not what colour, that's not secured yet. So, you know, you never know, there might be a bit of mind games going on there. I'm sure these girls know each other quite well from being on the teams together, and it'll be all friends after they've crossed the finish line.
Well, Gilbody just has the edge in that silver medal position at the moment. Nothing to choose though, is that you can just see the wind. It's you've got to laugh, haven't you? It's
got a clear run at this point, going all the way down the field. You can see the spectators being blown over a little bit as well.
Just got, I think, maybe one of the under 17 boys club athletes all grouping together on their warm-up run there.
I mean, there's a guy there in his t-shirt though, which does say good things about the temperatures.
He must be from further up north, surely.
I think we might just be about in the double digits today, although as I say, that a bubble hat comes into view just to equalise that out.
Yeah. It was a cool start to the day.
It's quite nice as well, these girls get the firmest course of the day, being the first to run around these laps. By the time the senior men come round, although there hasn't been much rain, it's likely to be quite churned up. So little bit more thinking to be done about your placement around these corners, staying on your feet.
Great to see so many different club vests as well. A lot of different clubs will have got on their buses this morning, and
very early, I suspect, for some.
yeah, I think so. I wonder if some came last night, make a bit of a weekend of it. It's great to see. Nothing quite like a pure race of cross country, is there? Everybody gets quite obsessed in summertime when track season comes around, and BMCs and pacemakers and split times and all of that. It matters very little when you get to the cross country season, and you have to learn just to grind it out.
Yeah, it's a very pure form of racing, and it also brings all of those distances together. There'll be girls in this very race that, you know, would much rather be doing an 800 on the track, and there'll also be other girls that are waiting for that 3K to become a 5K.
Well, that is Innes Fitzgerald, who has just crossed the line in first. The first champion of our 2023 national. She collapsed into a bit of a heap, and I think the medics had to help her up. I'm sure she's okay. She has a real unique ability to push herself to the absolute limits, and well, Fitzgerald is the under-17 women's champion for 2023. We'll wait and see who picks up the silver and bronze.
She's definitely left it all out there today, you can tell from the way that she finished that race.
Well, here comes Gilbody in second, just managing to pull away 15 or 20 metres to the good in the latter stages. And we think it's still going to be Flaherty that comes through to take the bronze. And that is our podium wrapped up for the first race of the weekend.
Just saw Flaherty stop her watch there as well. I hope that's going on Strava.
Well, national bronze medalist is something to definitely get on Strava about. Well, that is impressive, and Innes Fitzgerald just to the left of picture with a rose. Not quite sure whose job it is to hand those out on the finish line, but
yeah, the winner's getting the English rose. It's more of a symbolic thing, I suppose, than something you're going to keep and leave in your pile of medals and trophies back home.
I like the high five from Fitzgerald and Gilbody there. It was one where your arm is so tired you can barely get it up to get the other person, but yeah, great to see. Lucy Thomas just coming past the screen there, as was Hannah Foster, still working hard into the final half mile for them. And you're right, the 5K distance is great because it does attract those athletes that might be more 800 and those that are certainly more long distance. It's just the right niche, isn't it, really, to attract some young athletes.
Yeah, and they're coming through thick and fast now as well, so those finishes in these positions really do make a difference. You know, you can just kick a little bit for home and take off 2, 3, 4 people in that last straight if someone's tying up.